It's time for high school baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Wenatchee Valley YMCA. And now it's time to go to the diamond on the NCW Life Channel.
Good afternoon, baseball fans. Welcome to Dan White Field here on the campus of Eastmont High School. It's a Big Nine matchup for second and third place. It's also a matchup between Cross River rivals as the Eastmont Wildcats play host to the Wenatchee Panthers. Eastmont coming in with a record of 10-5, Wenatchee at 11-4, and it's all about seeding for the postseason as they'll play the district play-in matchups coming up next Tuesday. And that's still to be determined as to whom has home field advantage and whom they'll play as they get ready for the postseason next week. First of all, it's the first of 3 games in this week between the Wenatchee Panthers and the Eastmont Wildcats. We'll have more from Dan White Field coming your way next on the NCW Life Channel. Our pregame show continues here on the NCW Life Channel with our Coach's Corner and a chance to talk to Brandon Schmidt, head coach here for Eastmont. It's brought to you by Heritage Memorial Chapel, a funeral home with a heritage owned by a trusted friend. Well, you want to be playing your best ball at this time of year. Are you guys there? You looked pretty good last week.
Yeah, you know, we've had 2 good weeks of baseball coming off the Davis series and then the Sunnyside series. And, you know, I think that we're ready to go. We had a rough series against Moses Lake 3 weeks ago. Actually, it was 4 weeks ago now, and then took us into a bye. And, you know, I think the guys are ready. This game, you know, it gives a little bit extra incentive for us too, and knowing the ramifications of this. You know, we win 2 of 3, take second place. Right. And so, yeah, the kids are ready to go, and I think they're mentally in the right spot, and physically they're playing good.
We expect that on Wenatchee's, talking about a tough series. They lose 2 of 3 from Moses Lake. They go into the weekend first place. They come out third place. What do you expect?
They're a good young team. They've been playing really well this year. You know, they've got some fire in them, and they've got something to prove. So they're going to come out here, and they're going to give us their best, just like they always do.
Tell me about senior night. You don't have a lot of them, but it's still a very, you know, special afternoon, evening for these boys.
Yeah, you know, actually we have 8 of them that are playing for us this year, and some very key players for us. And, you know, it's just great to have the kids come out here and honor their parents and honor them for all their work and dedication that they give into the sport and to our school and to our team and everything.
Well, I know you've got some administrative duties aside from coaching duties with that part of it. I'll let you get to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Brandon Schmidt joining us here on the pregame show. We'll come back and get you ready for the starting lineups right after this on the NCW Life Channel. Welcome back once again here to Eastmont's Dan White Field as we get ready for this matchup between the Eastmont Wildcats and the Wenatchee Panthers. Our broadcast brought to you in part by Wenatchee Valley YMCA for youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. It's the YMCA of the Wenatchee Valley. Also by Confluence Health, Wenatchee's premier treatment center for all sports-related injuries, Confluence Health. And thanks again to our coaches interview sponsor, Heritage Memorial Chapel, a funeral home with a heritage owned by a trusted friend. Let's take a look at the starting lineup here for the visitors, the Wenatchee Panthers, as announced by their head coach, Jeff Zender, with a record of 11-4 in Big Nine play, 11-6 overall. Getting the start at and leadoff in center field for the Wenatchee Panthers is TJ Shirting, a sophomore. Batting second and playing shortstop for the Panthers today is Dalton Thomas. Batting third and catching is Ronan Haynes, a junior. Batting cleanup and playing at third base is number 11, Colton Dial. Batting fifth and pitching, man who has been money for the Panthers so far this season, Thomas Blakeney. Batting sixth at first base is Seth Storley. Batting seventh in right field for the Panthers this afternoon, Chandler Holliday. Batting eighth in left field is Nolan Dory. And batting ninth at second base is Jared Rubash. So here we go, ready for action here this afternoon on the NCW Life Channel as we get ready for the first pitch of the ball game. And the wind and delivery by the right-hander is right down the middle for a strike. And the count is 0-1 on TJ Shirting. Starting pitcher for the Eastmont Wildcats here this afternoon is Micah Satterfield. On the mound, working here as we get underway in this 7-inning affair, scheduled for 7. Next pitch misses for a ball, and the count even to Shirting at 1 ball and 1 strike. Plenty of chatter from the Wenatchee and Eastmont faithful here. This pitch swung on a chopped foul up the third baseline, so the count goes to 1-2 on the leadoff man, TJ Shirting. Thanks to both coaching staffs for providing me the latest stats on both of these teams as we come into action here today. TJ Shirting batting on the season in 14 games. This pitch swung on and flew out to center field as Shirting for the first out here of the ball game. 1 down for the Panthers here in the top of the first. Shirting coming in batting .396 in the ball game here today. That'll bring up the shortstop, Dalton Thomas. Thomas steps into the right-handed batter's box to face Satterfield, and the right-hander's wind and delivery on the first pitch is a curveball missing inside for ball 1. 1-0 the count. We've got Paul Weddle calling balls and strikes behind home plate this afternoon on a gorgeous day for baseball here in East Wenatchee. This pitch bounces in for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Dalton Thomas. He'll be followed by Ronan Haynes here in the top of the first for the Panthers. The 1-1 pitch on the way, swung on and chopped foul at home plate, and the count goes to make that a 2-0 count. Now it's 2-1. Coming up on tomorrow on the NCW Life Channel, we'll have live softball action for Eastmont and Wenatchee from Walla Walla Point Park. Grant Olson on your play-by-play there. That's at 8 o'clock tomorrow night right here on the NCW Life Channel. The 2-1 pitch instead is a timeout called by the home plate umpire as Thomas wanted to step out, and so he's granted the timeout. Thomas batting .226 coming in on the season with 1 double, 9 RBIs. Nobody on the base paths here, and the pitch swung on and lifted in the air. Another play for Devin Schneider out there in center field. He'll make the catch for the out. So 2 outs here in the first for Wenatchee, brings up the catcher Ronan Haynes. So quite a week last week for the Panthers. They went in to Friday as the #1 team of the Big Nine. They came out of Friday as the #3 team in the Big Nine after losing both ends of a doubleheader to Moses Lake on the road. This pitch misses high and away to Ronan Haynes. 1-0 the count. Satterfield, long, lanky right-hander on the mound here for the Eastmont Wildcats. And the 1-0 pitch to the plate swung on a fly ball to center field again. Devin Schneider looking up into our sunny skies today will make all 3 outs here for Eastmont in the first. So no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Wenatchee 0 and Eastmont due up next. You're watching Big Nine Baseball today on the NCW Life Channel. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to Eastmont's Dan White Field as we head to the bottom of the first. Nothing doing for Wenatchee in their top of the inning, and Eastmont now due up. Here's the lineup for Coach Brandon Schmitten as the Wildcats come in with a record of 10-5, 11-6 overall. Devin Schneider will bat first. He's a center fielder. Batting second, catcher Jackson Brown. Batting third, second baseman Kyler Morrow. Batting cleanup is right fielder Duncan Favor. Batting fifth, the DH Dawson Schultz. Batting sixth, left fielder Lance Whitmer. Batting seventh, third baseman Jarrett Garland. Batting eighth, first baseman Jacob Schmitten. And batting ninth, the shortstop is Jack Kuski. That's the lineup to face Thomas Blakeney here for the Wenatchee Panthers on the mound. As we get ready for the first batter here in the bottom of the first inning, and the first pitch by Blakeney is right across the knees for a strike. 0-1 the count to Devin Schneider. Thomas Blakeney Starter on the mound here for the Wenatchee Panthers. Looks in, gets a sign from Roland Haynes. And the right-hander working from the Wines 0-1 pitch. A little bit low with that fastball. Evens the count at a ball and a strike. Devin Schneider, one of the many seniors recognized here today on Senior Day. This pitch misses low for a ball. The count goes to 2-1. Several seniors in the lineup here today for Coach Brandon Schmitten on Senior Day here at Eastmont High School. The 2-1 pitch swung on and cued off the end of the bat, foul up the first baseline. And the count to Schneider goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jack Kuski, Luke Schmidt, Duncan Favor, Devin Schneider, Jacob Shales, Micah Satterfield, Jared Garland, and Jacob Schmitten, all seniors for the Eastmont Wildcats. A swing and a miss by Devin Schneider for strike 3. First out of the inning here defensively for the Panthers. That'll bring up the catcher, Jackson Brown. Brown batting .393 on the season. He's got 3 extra base hits, all doubles. 12 RBIs as he steps up in the right-handed batter's box. And the first pitch to him swung on a chop back over the mound on a hop, goes to the second baseman. He'll field and throw. Rubash to Storley. And 4-3 on the putout brings up the second out here of the first inning. You expect each team will try to maybe ratchet up their games a little bit here. These guys know each other really well, especially these group of 8 seniors for Eastmont. Been playing around these Wenatchee guys for a long time. A lot of them sharing the diamonds on the same field in youth baseball growing up here in the Wenatchee Valley. Kyler Morrow stepping in. The first pitch, fastball taken for a strike. A lot of heat on that pitch from Thomas Blakeney. The count 0-1 on Kyler Morrow. Morrow batting .410 on the season in the number 3 spot for Eastmont. Takes the next pitch. It's a called strike. He didn't agree with that one. And the count goes to 0-2 on Kyler Morrow. Norris score, bottom of the first. Eastmont's first opportunity offensively here in the ballgame. And an 0-2 count with 2 outs on Kyler Morrow. The pitch by Blakeney swung on and a line drive right back to the pitcher. And that'll be out. And a 3-up, 3-down story for Eastmont here in the first as well. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We'll head to the second, scoreless here at Eastmont. You're watching Big 9 Baseball today on the NCW Life Channel. We're back after this. Here we go to the top of the second inning here at Eastmont's Wildcat Field and Dan White Field. Colton Dial lead things off here in the second scoreless ball game between the Panthers and the Wildcats. And the first pitch of the inning bounces in about 3 feet short of home plate. And the count 1-0 on Colton Dial. Dial batting .381 coming into the game here today against the Wildcats. And the 1-0 pitch is taken for a strike, and the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Cody Pregshot out there on the base paths today. Paul Weddle behind home plate calling balls and strikes as Colton Dial looks out for the pitch from Satterfield. It's a curveball, swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1-2. Micah Satterfield with, I don't know, it looked like a curveball. That may have been maybe a knuckleball. Here comes the 1-2 pitch on the way. It's another one that bounces in. And maybe that is a knuckleball as the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hockey night coming up on Thursday night. It'll be game 1 of the Doyle Cup between Wenatchee and Spruce Grove. Be sure and watch that Thursday here on the NCW Life Channel. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. 4 in a row retired here by Micah Satterfield to start this ball game. The first strikeout for Satterfield. That'll bring up the pitcher, Thomas Blakeney. Blakeney has been able to help his own cause quite a bit this season. He's got 1 triple, 7 doubles, batting .319. Zwan wearing number 15 steps in, and the first pitch to him is low for a ball. And the count 1-0. Satterfield looking in for the sign from his catcher, Jackson Brown. He has it, and the 1-0 pitch on the way to the plate is right down the middle for a strike, and the count even. And 1 ball and 1 strike. Gorgeous day for baseball here today. A little bit of a breeze blowing out towards center field. 3:28 down the lines here at Eastmont's Dan White Field. This pitch swung on and hit on a line right to Devin Schneider out in center. He's been a busy guy so far, and the 5 outs recorded, he has 4 of those outs. 2 outs here in the second brings up first baseman Seth Storley. Storley with 1 home run on the season. He comes in batting .303, and the first pitch to him is a fastball missing just outside for ball 1. 1-0 the count. We've had some equipment problems here today at Dan White Field, so we apologize for that. We'll be doing some switching up here between innings. This pitch taken for a strike, and the count goes to a ball and a strike on Seth Storley. Satterfield with the 1-1 pitch to the plate. It's a curveball missing outside for a ball. 2-1 to count on Seth Storley with 2 out here in the second. The 2-1 pitch on the way to the plate bounces in for a ball, and it goes to a 3-1 count. That's the first 3-ball count that Satterfield has had here in the game so far. 2 down, nobody aboard, in a scoreless game here in the top of the second, and a 3-1 pitch to the plate. Swing and a miss. He was out in front of that one. And the count goes to 3-2. Timeout called for and granted by the home plate umpire, Paul Waddle. Sunshine, a few puffy clouds lingering on the shouldering hills here in the Wenatchee Valley on this first day of May. The 3-2 pitch bounces in for a ball, and the first base runner will get aboard here for Wenatchee with 2 down via the walk. And with 1 aboard and 2 outs, that'll bring up right fielder Chandler Holliday. Appreciate you joining us here on the NCW Life Channel. Our broadcast brought to you by the Wenatchee Valley YMCA for youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. It's the Wenatchee Valley YMCA. First pitch to Holliday misses low for ball 1. Inning started out with a strikeout on a swing by Colton Dial on a 2-2 pitch. Blakeney then lined out to center. Storley aboard on a walk with a pretty good lead over there at first base. The pitch to the plate is a swing and a miss, and out in front of that one was Holliday, and the count goes to a ball and a strike on Chandler. Holliday coming in batting .353 in 39 plate appearances on the season. The pitch here curved, slowly bending across for a strike, and the count goes to 1-2. Jackson Brown looks over towards the dugout for the sign on this 1-2 pitch with a runner at first. He'll hold. The pitch swung on and hit hard in the gap. Devin Schneider on the run, reaches up, makes the catch. What a catch, and what a run down in center field by Devin Schneider. My, oh my. Give him a star in that one. So we will head to the bottom of the second inning. 1 runner aboard. They leave a man stranded. Still scoreless here at Dan White Field between Wenatchee and Eastmont. And we're back after this 60-second timeout. Batting .294 coming into the game today. A toss over to the bag at first is not quite in time. And a 2-0 count remains on Jared Garland. So what we'll have to do is take the card out of that camera and take it over to the studios so that we can get that one on the air. This pitch swung on and a line drive laced to center field for a base hit. So our first clean, crisp base hit of the ball game is by Jared Garland with 2 outs here in the second inning. So a hit for Eastmont puts 2 aboard with 2 down, and that'll bring up first baseman Jacob Schmitten. His first at bat here of the game for the Eastmont Wildcats. Schmitten batting .263 coming in. Only has 4 RBIs on the season, but a chance for him to pick up a big one here in a scoreless game. The pitch by Blakeney is a curveball, missing outside for ball 1, 1-0 the count. Give you a recount of the game so far for those who are just tuning in, as we have a scoreless one here in the bottom of the second with 2 on and 2 down for Eastmont. It began with 3 straight fly ball outs in the top of the first by Shirting, Thomas, and Haynes for Wenatchee. So scoreless after a half of an inning, and taking a strike here is Jacob Smitten. Evens the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Thomas Blakeney came out for Wenatchee, firing in the bottom of the first, as Schneider, Brown, and Morrow were retired on a strikeout, a ground out, and a line out back to the pitcher. So scoreless after the first inning. Pitch swung on here, grounded towards the second baseman, and a pretty easy play for Rubash, and he'll toss it over to Storley at first, and that will retire the side here as Wenatchee Eastmont gets a couple aboard on an error and a base hit. They leave 2. We'll head to the third, still scoreless at Eastmont High School. We're back after this 60-second timeout. To the third in the scoreless ball game. No runs, no hits, 1 error on the top of the scoreboard. So 0-0-1. And on the bottom of the scoreboard, 0-1-0. That's where we are as we head into the third. Due up here for Wenatchee to lead things off is Mr. Dory. Nolan Dory steps in the right-handed batter's box to face Micah Satterfield. And the first pitch swung on, and a well-hit ball deep to left field. It's going to get down in the gap, go all the way to the fence. Rounding first, heading for second is Dory. Nolan's going to coast in there with a stand-up double. Well struck ball into the gap between left and center. Not much of a chance out there for Lance Whitmer or for Devin Schneider to chase it down. It goes all the way to the fence, and a leadoff double here for Dory brings up the second baseman, Jared Rubash. Rubash's first plate appearance of the ball game. That's the first hits for Wenatchee in the game, and a bunt attempt is fouled off at home plate to the count 0-1 on Jared Rubash. So again, our line score here. Wenatchee, the visitors, 0-1-1, so no runs, 1 hit, 1 error. And Eastmont, no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. As we're in the third already. This pitch bounces in for a ball. Evens the count to Rubash at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 aboard, nobody out for Wenatchee here in the third inning. Our first real scoring chance for either team here in this contest. Micah Satterfield. Rubash turning to bunt, bunts it back to the mound. Satterfield off, will turn and throw to third. The ball is off the line. Getting up and scampering towards home is Dory, and he will score on the throwing error. Wenatchee takes the lead 1-0. Rubash with the bunt right back to the mound. Satterfield, an error on the throw to third base to try to get the runner there. Rubash will go down to second on the throwing error. So 1-0. Wenatchee on top, nobody out. Runner at second, and back to the top of the order for TJ Shirting. Shirting 0 for 1. He flew out to center in his first plate appearance. And the first pitch to him here, bunt attempts right off the left side of the mound. This time Satterfield will throw to first. Not in time. Shirting hustling up the baseline. Give him a bunt single. Down to third on the play goes Rubash. So runners at the corners here for Wenatchee in a rally here in the third. And that'll bring up Dalton Thomas. Thomas flew out to center in the first. He's 0 for 1 today. So Wenatchee now with a couple of base hits here in this inning. And an error on the Eastmont defense. Now with runners on the corners. Satterfield working from the stretch. The pitch to the plate is a fastball missing low for ball 1. So Shirting over at first base. Rubash at third base. Nobody down for Wenatchee. Tight spot for the Eastmont defense. Couple of bunts in a row and couldn't get anybody out. The runner from first goes. The throw down to second base is not in time. Somehow split the legs of the runner out there. And so a stolen base for Schurting puts runners at second and third. And the count is even now on Dalton Thomas at 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the infield will come in to try to preserve the run to get the out at home. Maybe check the runner back to third and then go to first on the throw. This pitch swung on, ripped hard but foul down the third baseline. And a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Dalton Thomas. Satterfield in trouble for the first time here in the game here in the third inning. Gave up a leadoff double to Nolan Dory. And then a bunt attempt. Errant throw by Satterfield to third base allowed the run to score. This pitch is a curveball, swing and a miss. And gone is Thomas for the first out here of the third. Huge out for Micah Satterfield and the Eastmont Wildcats. That'll bring up the catcher, Ronan Haynes. He flew out to center in the first as Devin Schneider defensively had a very busy top half of the first inning. In fact, he made 4 of the first 5 outs out there in center. The pitch by Satterfield swung on and chopped up the third baseline, and the out at third is no. He's going to say he dropped the ball, or no, they dropped it after the tag was applied. So a nice play there at third base for the Eastmont Wildcats by Jared Garland, who fielded the grounded ball to him, and a fielder's choice 5 unassisted on the putouts on Rubash. So that'll be the second out to the inning. Runner at first and second now with Haynes at first base. Let's see if they brought in a courtesy runner for him. They did the Wenatchee Panthers, as Gavin Woodring over there running at first now. And that brings Colton Dial to the plate, and the first pitch swung on, popped up in the infield. So if Eastmont can get out of this with just the 1 run, that is amazing, and they do. So a pop to the infield for the final out. Wenatchee gets 1 run, could have been a lot more, on 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 men are left aboard. We'll head to the bottom of the third. It is Wenatchee leading at 1-0 over Eastmont. We're back after the 60-second timeout. So 1-0 as we head here to the bottom of the third inning. A little work here to do for Eastmont offensively after giving up the first run of the ball game in the top of the third. But just to give up the 1 run, a moral victory if nothing else for Eastmont. So it'll be Jack Kuski to lead things off here for Eastmont, number 9 batter in the order, as we head to the bottom of the third here on the NCW Life Channel. The first pitch misses inside for ball 1, 1-0 the count. Eastmont got a couple of men aboard in the second on an error and a base hit. Could not cross the plate, however. Here comes the 1-0 pitch from Blakeney. It's a fastball in there for a strike, and the count even at 1 ball and 1 strike on Kuski. 1-0 Panthers on top. First of 3 games between these two teams here this week. This pitch swung on and cued off the end of the bat over to the left of the second baseman. Rubash will field it cleanly and throw out Kuski. 4-3 on the putouts for the first out here in the third. And back to the top of the order for Eastmont for Devin Schneider. Schneider led off the ball game with the only strikeout by Thomas Blakeney so far in the contest. He's 0 for 1. Sun disappearing behind a cloud periodically here in the Wenatchee Valley today. This first pitch is taken for a strike by Schneider. And the count 0-1. Thomas Blakeney, pretty quick worker out on the mound, looking in for the sign from Devin Schneider, but Schneider waiting to get it from the dugout. They finally connect, and the pitch bounces in for a ball. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Wenatchee 11-4 coming into today. Eastmont 10-5. last week of the regular season. You got district play-ins next week. You got the district tournament next week. A lot to be decided here in the next few days. This pitch taken for a strike by Schneider. He's behind in the count. Hit a ball and 2 strikes. So after Moses Lake swept Wenatchee last week, the Chiefs in first place, Wenatchee in second, West Valley third, and Eastmont fourth. The 1-2 pitch swung on and chopped off the plate, foul, and the count stays at a ball and 2 strikes. Although Wenatchee does have 1 less loss than West Valley, the Rams have 2 more wins than Wenatchee, so you start looking at the math on that, and they're virtually tied for second place. This pitch swung on a chop slowly up to the third baseman. Fielding is Colton Dial. He'll throw over in time for the out. 5-3 on the put out. 2 down here for Eastmont in the third, and that'll bring up catcher Jackson Brown. So other games happening today. Davis hosting Sunnyside, while Eisenhower is at Moses Lake. Next week, district play-in games are on Tuesday, with 6 playing at 3 and 5 playing at 4. This pitch swung on, fisted down the right field line, and it's going to carry him off the glove of the right fielder. And going to drop in. That was a long run for the right fielder over there for the Wenatchee Panthers, Chandler Holliday, and the ball goes off the heel of his glove. And they're going to call that an error on the right fielder. So E9 puts Jackson Brown aboard. Brunner aboard with 2 down for Eastmont, brings up Kyler Morrow. Morrow lined out to the pitcher back in his first at bat in the first. And a curveball here taken for a strike. 0-1 on Kyler Morrow. The 2 teams here will cross the river to Rec Park for 2 games on Friday. The 0-1 pitch is a fastball low and a nice stop by Ronan Haynes behind home plate. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. So a few base runners left on board here for Eastmont. They've got another one over there with 2 down here in the bottom of the third. And the pitch to the plate swung on a hit hard but fouled at the third baseline. And the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Senior day here at Eastmont High School. They've got 8 seniors on the club. Jack Kuski, Luke Schmidt, Duncan Favor, Devin Schneider, Jacob Shales, Micah Satterfield, Jared Garland, Jacob Schmitten, all playing their last official home game of the regular season. A swing and a miss here, and gone for the second strikeout to the ball game is Kyler Morrow, and that will be it for Eastmont. They get a runner aboard on an error. They leave a man. We'll head to the fourth. 1-0 Wenatchee leading Eastmont. You're watching Big 9 Baseball today on the NCW Life Channel. We're back right after this 60-second timeout. We go to the fourth inning, scheduled for 7 today. Wenatchee on top of Eastmont 1-0, and due up for the Panthers here at the top of the fourth. Thomas Blakeney, Seth Storley, and Chandler Holliday. Appreciate you joining us on the NCW Life Channel tonight. Our broadcast brought to you in part by the Wenatchee Valley YMCA. For youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility, it's the Wenatchee Valley YMCA. Blakeney, the pitcher, trying to help his own cause, lined out to center in his first at bat in the second. And a whale of a catch by Devin Schneider. So here we go to the fourth, and the first pitch taken for a ball from Micah Satterfield. 1-0 the count. Actually, I think it was the ball that Schneider caught by off the bat of Chandler Holliday to end the second. That was stellar play. This pitch taken for a strike, off speed, and the count to ball and a strike on Blakeney. Sun comes out from behind the clouds again, casting its rays down upon the playing surface, and this pitch swung on and popped up into center field. Devin Schneider, one of the easier plays he's had today, will make the catch for the out. 1 down here in the fourth, and that'll bring up first baseman Seth Storley. Storley got aboard in the second with 2 down on a 2-out walk. So he's still trying to get his first official plate appearance here today for the Panthers. Steps in the right-handed batter's box. And the wind and delivery by Satterfield to him. Swung on and hit hard down the left field line, and that's going to go just foul and hit about halfway up the fence. Probably saw my head. Hi, gang. Storley hit it hard, but hit it foul, so that goes to strike one. I'll try to put my big head in your way there, Jessica. Jessica doing a great job on camera work here, trying to find that ball down the left field line. We've had some interesting technical things here the last several broadcasts that we've had. And another one here today. The 0-1 pitch on the way is a curveball just missing inside for ball one. 1-1 the count to Seth Storley. But what you don't know can't hurt you, right? So they don't need to know anything. The 1-1 pitch swung on a miss. Nice fastball there, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes on Seth Storley. I was talking with my beloved the other day, and she says, so when does the wind stop blowing in the Wenatchee Valley? I said, well, when you see the snow gone off of Mission Ridge, that's about the time the wind stops blowing. The 1-2 pitch is swung on and fouled back, and the count stays at a ball and 2 strikes. From our location here atop the clubhouse, above the third base dugout, from our broadcast location, a gorgeous view up towards Mission Ridge. A 1-2 pitch misses high for ball 2. 2-2 to Seth Storley with 1 down here in the 4th. See a soccer game, JV soccer game going on in the distance for Eastmont here today. They've got varsity soccer tonight. This pitch swung on a chop back over the mound. Shortstop over will field. Kuski's throw is in time. Beautiful play on a bounding ball, slowed down just past the mound, but Kuski able to stay with it for the out. 2 down here in the 4th brings up the right fielder, Chandler Holliday. It was a ball struck by Holliday in the gap between center and left that Devin Schneider was on his horse, able to track down for the final out back in the 2nd, but Holliday put a charge to it. Satterfield's first pitch to him here is a curve, a little high and inside for ball 1. 1-0 the count. So we've got softball on the air tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Be sure and tune in. Wenatchee and Eastmont softball from Walla Walla Point Park. 2 teams atop the Big Nine, or in the upper echelons of the Big Nine standings. This pitch taken by Holliday for a strike across the knees, and the count 1-1. Pretty good crowd here today on this sun-splashed afternoon at Dan White Field. The 1-1 pitch to the plate, curveball swung on, chopped back over the mound to the left to Kuski right there. Will field and throw, and in time to get the outs, and that'll retire Wenatchee here in the 4th. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning. It is Wenatchee leading Eastmont 1-0. You're watching Big Nine Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. We're back after this 60-second timeout. The 4th we go here at Dan White Field. Duncan Favor, Dawson Schultz, and Lance Whitmer do up for Eastmont here on Senior Day at the ballpark. Duncan Favor, one of those 8 seniors for Eastmont, playing his last regular season home game here. Had mom and dad come out on the field with him. Good to see Heidi and Brian. The first pitch misses for a ball to Duncan Favor. 1-0 the count. As Tyler Blakeney continues to work here, and the pitch misses. I say Tyler Thomas Blakeney, that is. This pitch misses for a ball. 2-0 the count to Duncan Favor. Eastmont trailing at 1-0 here at home today. The 2-0 pitch is a fastball missing low and inside for ball 3. Good eye by Favor. Eastmont has yet to get the lead man aboard. In fact, they've only had 3 base runners so far in the ballgame. The 3-0 pitch by Blakeney taken all the way for ball 4. Missed outside. So the first walk of the game by Blakeney. And that'll bring up the designated hitter, Dawson Schultz. Blakeney on the season can't have very many walks. In fact, that is his 13th walk of the season in 33 innings of baseball pitched. So you can see he normally has pretty good control. So he doesn't walk that many. Squaring to bunt was Dawson Schultz. Took the first pitch for a ball. 1-0 the count. Schultz 0 for 1 with a line out to the shortstop. And his first at bat, squaring to bunt. Here comes the third baseman in. The bunt back to the mound. The pitcher will field and throw to second for 1. The relay to first, not in time, but they do get the lead man out there at second base. So 1-6 on the put-out fielder's choice. Schultz is aboard. 1 out here in the fourth, and that'll bring up left fielder Lance Whitmer. Whitmer got aboard on what I would have given him a base hit, but the official scorer here at the ballpark put an error on the first baseman, Seth Storley, on a ball that took an awkward hop, caromed off his glove into right field. This pitch is low and inside for a ball. 1-0 the count. Boy, I'll tell you, it is perfect temperatures here today. Sunshine, a light breeze blowing, and just comfortable. Spring has definitely sprung here in the Wenatchee Valley. The 1-0 pitch by Blakeney, swung on and hit to the air. Oh, the second baseman makes the play and doubles up the runner at first. A line out, 4-3 double play, and that'll end the threat for Eastmont here in the fourth. Great play by Jared Rubash. We'll head to the fifth inning. It is Eastmont's trailing Wenatchee 1-0. You're watching Big Nine Baseball on the NCW. Back to the NCW Life Channel's coverage of Big Nine Baseball today on the NCW Life Channel. I'm Eric Grandstrom here just above the third base dugout, calling it today from Dan White Field as we have a 1-0 ball game. Good one here this afternoon. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 errors for Wenatchee. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 error for Eastmont as we head to the top of the fifth inning. Nolan Dory leads it off, and the first pitch is swung on and popped up to shallow center, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. So a little bloop single to center for Nolan Dory as the third hit of the ball game for Wenatchee. And the leadoff man aboard brings up the second baseman, Jared Rubash. That is the second time here for Nolan Dory to get aboard to lead off an inning. He scored the game's only run back in the third. This pitch is bunted right back to the mound, and off is center field. The throw to first is not in time. Hustling play by Rubash, and again the bunt laid down perfectly by Rubash. Runners at first and second here for the Panthers. In business again here in the fifth. So the bottom of the order coming through for Coach Jeff Zender. Back to the top of the order in center fielder TJ Sherding. Sherding had a bunt single his last time up in the third, where Wenatchee scored its only run. Infield drawn in on the corners, waiting for the bunt possibly again from TJ Sherding. Both the runners take it advance, and the defense comes crashing in on both sides at first and third, and the turnaround and throw to second instead by the pitcher, Micah Satterfield. Garland was coming in from third base, and Schmitten in from first base. Pitch to the plate high, goes all the way past the catcher to the backstop, but it ricocheted off of the backstop pole and came right back out to the catcher. And Jackson Brown able to turn and just pick up the ball so nobody goes anywhere. And the count on TJ Sherding is 1-0. Sherding crowding that right-handed batter's box, and here comes the 1-0 pitch to the plate, is a little bit outside for a ball, and the count goes to 2-0 on TJ Sherding. See what Jeff Zender decides to do on a 2-0 count on his leadoff man, TJ Sherding. Satterfield again in a prickly situation here for Eastmont. The 2-0 pitch to the plate is high with a fastball for ball 3. Dory is at second base. Got aboard with a leadoff bloop single, and then a bunt single by Jared Rubash. He's over at first. They take their leads, and the 3-0 pitch on the way to the plate is in the middle for a strike at a count 3-1. Chance for Wenatchee to play a little add-on here as they lead at 1-0 in the top of the fifth inning. The 3-1 pitch. Swung on and chopped back over the mound. Second baseman Kuski going to have to wait for it. No throw to first. They get the force at second, but that's it. So 6 unassisted on the putout. Dory goes down to third base on the play. 1 out on the putout. Shirting aboard on the fielder's choice, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Dalton Thomas. Thomas is 0 for 2 with a fly out and a strikeout. One of 2 strikeout victims in the ballgame for Micah Satterfield. Runners on the corners, infield at double play depth now. Would love to get a ground ball here. The pitch to the plate, bunt attempt, but he takes the bat back and takes the pitch for a ball low and outside for ball 1. Dory taking his lead from third. Rubash with a lead from first. Let's see if Zender puts the game in motion here on a 1-0 count and 1 out in the inning. Turning to bunt. Bunt pops it up, and the catcher Jackson Brown makes the catch up the third baseline for a huge second out. So 2 down here, and that brings up catcher Ronan Haynes. But first, Eric Kuntz, the pitching coach for Eastmont, going to come out of the dugout and have a talk with his pitcher about how he feels, and probably also about how they want to pitch here to Ronan Haynes. Haynes is 0 for 2. He flew out to center in the first and got aboard on a fielder's choice in the third. But Eastmont, or with Wenatchee, golden chance again here, but now suddenly with 2 down with runners on the corners. See if the Panthers could come up with a little 2-out discipline here. The man coming to the plate in Ronan Haynes on the season for Wenatchee, their best hitter, hitting .512 with 3 home runs. So that's probably part of the conversation here for Eric Kuntz and for the Eastmont defense. Maybe do you just want to pass on Ronan Haynes and get to Colton Dial? I don't know. Pick your poison there. But definitely don't hang anything out there for him to chew on with 2 down and 2 aboard here in the 5th in a 1-0 ball game. The first pitch by Satterfield is a fastball low and away for ball 1. And that could be the choice here. Keep it low, keep it away from the very strong catcher up there, Ronan Haynes, in the left-handed batter's box. So lefty versus righty. The pitch to the plate, swung on, and a line drive to right field, and driving down, making the catch is the right fielder for Eastmont. What a play out there for Duncan Favor on Senior Day. Makes the catch of his lifetime to save runs and will get the 3rd out. My, oh my. So another star defensively for Eastmont. That keeps the game where it is at 1-0. Wenatchee on top. To the bottom of the 5th we go. You're watching Big 9 Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. We're back after this. Bottom of the 5th we go, and if you're Eastmont right now, you got to feel like you're kind of living on the edge a couple of times, including the top half of this inning. Wenatchee a chance to have a crooked number. Eastmont held them to 1 in the 3rd, held them scoreless here in the top of the 5th, so the Wildcats trail at 1-0. Jared Garland leads it off here in the 5th, and the first pitch to him by Blakeney swung on and chopped up the third baseline on a hop right to Dial at third. The throw is high, but getting his foot down was Storley at first for the first down. 5-3 officially on the putout over at first base. And with 1 down, that brings up the first baseman, Jacob Schmitten. Schmitten's 0 for 1. He grounded out to second in the second. Steps up here, and the first pitch by Blakeney is a little outside for ball 1, 1-0. Our broadcast today brought to you in part by Confluence Health, Wenatchee's premier treatment center for all sports-related injuries. The 1-0 pitch on the way to Schmitten swung on and hit foul and out of play over the first base dugout, and the count even now to Schmitten at 1 ball and 1 strike. A reminder, we will be not too far from here over on Grant Road in East Wenatchee on Friday for the Classy Chassis Parade. presented by Les Schwab. Be sure and watch that 6:30 Friday nights on the NCW Life Channel with Grant Olson and Brent Crowder providing your coverage. Schmitten found another one away, so he's behind in the count at 1-2. Thomas Blakeney with the windup and delivery on the 1-2 pitch, swung on and hit hard but fouled down the third baseline. That count stays at a ball and 2 strikes. And of course, the Milk Growers Grand Parade coming your way Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. You're home for the Apple Blossom Festival throughout right here on the NCW Life Channel. The 1-2 pitch to Schmitten, swung on and hit hard over to his left, second baseman Rubash. And again, Jared having a game today, makes the play and the throw and the out. So 2 down for Eastmont here in the 5th. Brings up shortstop Jack Kuski. Well, when Eastmont has gotten runners aboard, it has mostly been with 2 outs. Whitmer got aboard on an error in the second with 2 outs. Brown got aboard on an error with 2 outs in the third. Eastmont got a couple of guys aboard in the 4th, but that was all for naught on a double play. And now 2 down with Jack Kuski stepping in. The first pitch misses. The 1-0 pitch here is high for ball 2. Jack is 0 for 1. He grounded out to second in the third. A lot of ground balls for Thomas Blakeney here this afternoon. The 2-0 pitch is taken, but outside with that fastball. And the count goes to 3-0. Only 1 walk in the ball game for Thomas Blakeney. We talked about how he's got pretty good control. Doesn't walk a lot of guys. And the 3-0 pitch to the plate is this time right down the middle for a strike, and the count goes to 3-1. Kuski steps in back in the right-handed batter's box. The pitch swung on a chop back over the mound. Shortstop over will drop the ball and safe at first is Jack Kuski. Thomas had it, but then when he reached to grab a hold of the ball in his glove, just dropped it. And so an error going to be charged to the shortstop for Wenatchee. So for the 3rd time here in the game, Eastmont gets another life, getting aboard via an error with 2 outs in the inning. So back to the top of the order for center fielder Devin Snyder. And the first pitch to Snyder is taken low for a ball. 1-0 the count. Devin Snyder again batting .366, coming in with 1 home run on the season. Boy, if he could jack one here, give Eastmont the lead. The pitch swung on and chopped foul, and then maybe that went off his toe. Count evens to Snyder at 1 ball and 1 strike. Eastmont trying to wrap up the regular season Big 9 title in soccer all alone today with a win tonight. Their game starts at just an hour from now as we play baseball here adjacent to Dan White Field. The 1-1 pitch swung on and fouled at the plate, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes to Schneider. Jack Kuski, pretty good speed over there at first base. See if Coach Schmitten sends him on a 1-2 count with 2 down. He'll stay at first. The pitch swung on a fly ball to center. Backing up is TJ Sherding. Still going back. Over his head it goes! Kuski rounding third's going to score on the play. Here comes Schneider into third. Ball going away from the outfield. Here comes the throw home. It's offline, and the run will score, and Eastmont takes a 2-1 lead. We'll give Schneider an RBI triple, and then an error going to be charged on the relay on the shortstop, as Thomas again had a hard time finding the handle out there on the throw from Sherding. So Kuski scores the tying run, and on the error, Schneider comes beat feet home and scores the go-ahead run. And just like that, another error costly for Wenatchee defensively. Eastmont takes advantage and takes a 2-1 lead, and that brings up Jackson Brown. Pitch to the plate by Blakeney, bounces in several feet short of home plate. 1-0 the count to Jackson Brown, who's 0 for 2. Grounded out to second of the first and got aboard on an error on the right fielder Holiday back in the third. The 1-0 pitch swung on and hit hard, and that's going to drop down for a base hit. So Brown will get aboard with a 2-out single. sharply struck to center field as Shirting comes up with it, brings it back to the infield. And Eastmont with a little two-out magic here in the fifth brings up second baseman Kyler Morrow. First of 3 games this week between two teams battling for the upper spots in the Big Nine. Eastmont now leads Wenatchee 2-1 in this Cross River rivalry. This pitch misses low and outside for a ball to Kyler Morrow, 1-0. Morrow 0 for 1. He lined out to the pitcher in the first and struck out swinging in the third. Short lead over there for the man at first base for Eastmont, and the 1-0 pitch on the way by Blakeney is taken for a strike, and the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Jackson Brown, normally you'd have somebody come out and run for your catcher, but he's staying out there on the bag at first because he's got some pretty good speed. 1-1 the count, and a toss over to the bag at first, keeping an eye on Jackson Brown is Thomas Blakeney. Brown back there in plenty of time as Storley keeps him close to the bag. The 1-1 pitch to the plate, swung on, popped up to the infield, and Dial has this one dialed in. Instead, it'll be called off by the shortstop. Thomas makes the catch. So the final out recorded here in the fifth. But Eastmont gets 2 runs on 2 hits, 2 errors, and 1 man left. We'll head to the 6th inning of play. It is now Eastmont leading Wenatchee 2-1. We're back after this 60-second timeout on the NCW Life Channel. Wenatchee Panthers went into the Friday of last week in first place in the Big Nine, came out after a doubleheader sweep at the hands of Moses Lake in 3rd place. And Coach Jeff Zenders said one of the biggest problems they had was playing defense against Moses Lake. Well, it kind of bites them here. Still got plenty of time to go, but the Panthers find themselves now trailing to Eastmont 2-1 after committing a couple of errors in the bottom half of the 5th inning defensively. And Eastmont with a timely 2-out hit, and it is a 2-1 advantage for the home team here at Dan White Field. Due up for Wenatchee in the top of the 6th inning, Colton Dial, Thomas Blakeney, and Seth Storley, the 4, 5, and 6 batters for the Wenatchee Panthers. Meanwhile, we've got a new pitcher on the mound here for the Eastmont Wildcats. Taking over on the mound is Kalen Massey. So Massey takes over for Satterfield. We'll get you Massey's numbers in a moment. First pitch is swung on and hit, and shortstop Jack Husky comes over and cuts in front of the second baseman. Actually, if he's close enough, that's a better play for your shortstop. It's tough for the second baseman to go to his right, stop, and then field, and then throw back across his body. So a good play for Husky there, but it did look a little odd as he cut in front of his second baseman. And that's 1 out here in the 6th. That'll bring up Thomas Blakeney, and the first pitch is taken for a ball. 1-0 the count on Blakeney. Kalen Massey with a 2.52 earned run average. This is his 7th game, and the next pitch is swung on and hit hard right back past him into center field for a base hit. So Thomas Blakeney with his first hit of the game puts a runner at first for Wenatchee. He brings up the first baseman, Seth Storley.
Number 3, Seth Storley.
Massey, 8 1/3 innings pitched with a 1-0 record and 4 saves for Eastmont. That's the numbers on the new man on the bump here for Eastmont, and he pitches a strike to Seth Storley on the first ball thrown to him. 0-1 the count to Storley. Massey, a quick worker, and a pitch to the plate. Curveball swung on and chopped foul on the third base side. The count goes to 0-2 on Storley. Storley's 0 for 1. He walked in the second and grounded out to short in the 4th. So the day is done for Satterfield, but with his teammates giving him the lead, he has a chance to win this one. This pitch misses just barely. No, balk's going to be called. No pitch to the plate, balk called. And so down to second goes Thomas Blakeney. Cody Pregshaw out there, the base umpire, called the balk. A Apparently not coming to a full stop was Massey out on the mound. So the count remains 0-2 on Seth Storley, now with a runner in scoring position for Wenatchee. Trailing at 2-1. This pitch is right down the middle for a called strike 3. Gone looking is Storley for the second out in the 6th. New life in the dugout and here in the home stands for Eastmont after taking the lead for the first time today in the bottom of the 5th. But trying to hold on to that lead right now is Kalen Massey and the Wildcat defense as Chandler Holliday comes up 0 for 2 in the game. He flew out to center in the 2nd and grounded out to short in the 4th. Takes the first pitch for a strike here. 0-1 the count. Blakeney with the lead from second base. Massey set the 0-1 pitch. Curveball swung on and missed by Holliday in the count 0-2. Massey on the season with 8 strikeouts coming in, give him 9 in the batter before this. A nice stop by Jackson Brown there to keep the ball in front of him on a pitch in the dirt. The count goes to 1-2 on Chandler Holliday. So the 9th strikeout of the season. The last batter to Storley by Kalen Massey, looking for number 10 here. The 1-2 pitch on the way to Holliday is a fastball low and outside for ball 2. Gorgeous afternoon here in the Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for joining us for Big 9 Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. 2-2 count to Chandler Holliday. Blakeney a short lead from second. And the pitch by Massey is a fastball low. Got away from Jackson Brown. Didn't go far enough for Blakeney to do anything out there at second base. 2-1 score. Eastmont on top. 1 run, 5 hits, 3 errors for Wenatchee. 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error for Eastmont. The 3-2 pitch, low for ball 4. So a walk given up to Chandler Holliday. That'll bring up Nolan Dory. We're going to get a courtesy runner out to second base for the pitcher Blakeney.
Number 7, Nolan Dory.
As Jalen Hagum will go out and run at second base. So Hagum will go run for Blakeney. And a meeting on the mound happening now for Eastmont. Taking a look at the numbers on Kalen Massey on the season. We mentioned his now 9 strikeouts on the season. That is only, believe it or not, his 2nd walk of the season that he just surrendered to Chandler Holliday. So the meeting on the mound done. The offensive brain trust getting together here in the third base coach's box is done. Everybody back to their positions. And a tight one here for both teams. 2-1 game. Eastmont on top. Runners at first and second for Wenatchee with 2 down. And Nolan Dory stepping to the plate. Dory is 2 for 2 in the ballgame with a double and a single. And the first pitch by Massey on the way to the plate is a strike. 0-1 to count. Dory scored Wenatchee's only run back in the 3rd. He got aboard on a leadoff double. Ended up scoring on a throwing error by the pitcher. And the 0-1 pitch on the way to the plate. There's a curveball swung on and hit towards the second baseman. He'll flip it to second for the out, and that will retire the side here for Wenatchee. They get 2 aboard on a base hit to the walk. They'll leave 2. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th. Eastmont 2, Wenatchee 1. You're watching Big 9 Baseball on the NCW Live Channel. We're back right after this. Duncan Favor, Dawson Schultz, and Lance Whitmer do up here for Eastmont in their half of the 6th inning. As Thomas Blakeney continues to pitch here for the Wenatchee Panthers in a 2-1 ball game. Eastmont on top. Favors 0 for 1 in the ball game. He grounded out to second in the 2nd and walked in his last plate appearance in the 4th. And the windup and delivery on the slow approach by Blakeney is swung on and hit hard to center field. Backing up, center fielder will reach up, make the catch with TJ Shirting on a line out to center field. Struck hard, but right at the center fielder. So one down for Eastmont in the sixth, brings up the designated hitter Dawson Schultz. Schultz lined out to short in the second and grounded into a fielder's choice to the pitcher in the fourth. The first pitch to Schultz here is a strike on the outside corner. 0-1 the count. Tyler Blakeney, Thomas Blakeney, I should say. I keep doing that. My apologies to Mr. Blakeney. Pretty decent outing so far. The next pitch swung on, popped up to the infield. Well, just down on the outfield grass. Shortstop calling for it. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Thomas going out. Dory and Shirting were coming in. And the ball just kept carrying and carrying. There's a little bit of a breeze blowing out to left. I don't know if that helped or not, but that'll drop in as a base hit. So a bloop base hit with one out in the sixth brings up left fielder Lance Whitmer. Whitner got aboard on an error on the first baseman in the second, lined out to a double play in the fourth. Wenatchee would love to get a replay of that treatment right here in the bottom of the sixth with one on and one out. The pitch by Blakeney is low. Nice stop by Ronan Haynes back behind home plate, and the count 1-0 on Lance Whitmer. Checking the runner at first. The pitch swung on a foul back into the screen, and the count goes to 1-1 on Whitmer. Little breeze picks up here at the ballpark. Again, it's just not much blowing out to left, if anything. The 1-1 pitch swung on and hit back past the mound towards the second baseman. They'll go to second for one, but the shortstop can't handle the ball. Thomas again having a hard time squeezing it here for Wenatchee. And that'll be an error on him on what should have been an easy, at least, force at second. Schultz safe there. Whitmer aboard on the error. And that'll bring up third baseman Jared Garland. Fourth error of the game defensively for Wenatchee, and three of those are on Thomas at shortstop. I'll say two of those. Two of those on the shortstop. One on the first baseman, one on the right fielder. So two aboard with one down, and Garland steps up. He's 1 for 2 in the ball game with a sharp single to center in the second, and he grounded out to third in the fifth. Blakeney ready, and the pitch to the plate is a little inside for a ball on the fastball. 1-0 to Jared Garland. Nobody warming up behind Blakeney for the Panthers. 1 run, 5 hits, 4 errors for Wenatchee. 2 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for Eastmont. The 1-0 pitch by Blakeney is taken for a strike, evens the count to Garland at 1 ball and 1 strike. Garland, big fella, standing in the right-handed batter's box, takes a deep breath, wags that bright green bat around, lays it over his shoulder, splits the number 1-4 on his back, and now he's ready. Here comes the 1-1 pitch to the plate. It's swung on a hit back past the mound. It'll hit the bag, and the flip to second. They do get the force there. Good play by Thomas on that one. Fielder's choice, 6-4 on the putout. Down to third goes Schultz on the play. 2 down in the inning, as Garland will be over there at first base, and that'll bring up the first baseman Jacob Schmitten. We will have a courtesy runner come out for Eastmont. Well, they bring a man out of the dugout who's wearing number 22, and I don't have a 22 on my roster here. So the mystery man out there running at first. Meanwhile, Jeff Zender comes out towards the mound to have a discussion with Schmitten coming to the plate. 2 down in the inning. It began with a line out by Duncan Favor to center. Dawson Schultz got aboard on a ball that should have been caught by somebody in the outfield, but it dropped in for a base hit. And then Whitmer got aboard on an error on the shortstop, Thomas. Jared Garland now just grounded into a fielder's choice as they get Whitmer out at second base. Schultz goes to third on the play. So runners on the corners now for Eastmont with 2 down. And Jacob Schmitten waiting for the conversation on the mound to conclude as the seas part and the wave of purple heads back to their positions defensively. And they will swap pitchers. So out to second base goes Thomas Blakeney, and left on the mound is the former second baseman, so they'll just trade places. So Jared Rubash will now take over on the mound for the Wenatchee Panthers. So with that pitching change made, let's go ahead and take a quick timeout here. 60 seconds on the broadcast. We'll be right back. We're in the bottom of the 6th in a 2-1 game, Eastmont on top. And we'll take a break and come back to you in just a moment here on the NCW Life Channel. So a new pitcher in the ball game now is the second baseman, Jared Rubash. Blakeney goes out to play defensively at second, so they just make that defensive shift here. And Rubash will face Jacob Schmitten with 2 down and 2 on, and the first pitch bounces in for a ball. 1-0 the count. Rubash, a 1.28 earned run average, has been in 5 games so far. Does have 1 save, no record. The pitch here bounces in for a ball, and the count goes to 2-0. In fact, watching him warm up, was having a hard time throwing some balls in the dirt here. So Rubash maybe feeling a little bit of the pressure. The sophomore on the mound now for Wenatchee with runners on the corners and 2 down, trailing it 2-1, trying to keep it right there. The 2-0 pitch is right down the middle for a strike, and the count goes to 2-1 on Jacob Schmitten. Schmitten's 0 for 2, a couple of ground ball outs to the second baseman in the 2nd and in the 5th. We're in the bottom of the 6th. This pitch misses low for a ball 3, 3-1 to Jacob Schmitten. Jack Kuski waiting on deck for a shot here in the bottom of the 6th. 1 run, 5 hits, 4 errors for Wenatchee. 2 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for Eastmont. This pitch is low for ball 4. So a 2-out walk issued to Jacob Schmitten will load the bases here for Eastmont. And that'll bring up the shortstop, Jack Kuski. Colton Dial will come out to the mound and lend a word of advice to Rubash. Probably telling him something along the lines of, we've got your back here, buddy. Just throw strikes, make them make the out. Kuski's 0 for 2. He scored 1 of 2 runs, got aboard on an error in the 5th. Scored on the triple by Devin Schneider. The windup and delivery by Rubash is a little low for a ball. And now a discussion for Ronan Haynes with his pitcher. Maybe Ronan sees something from his position behind home plate on the delivery. In fact, bases are loaded, so he told Rubash to go ahead and wind up rather than work from the stretch. 2 down, 3 on. Eastmont trying to add to their lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning with 2 outs. Rubash looks in for the sign from Haynes. With Jack Kuski waiting at the plate, the 1-0 pitch is a fastball, misses high and inside for ball 2. Second pitcher of the game for Wenatchee. We've had 2 pitchers in the game for Eastmont. The 2-0 pitch on the way to the plate is right down the middle for a strike, and the count goes to 2-1. Kuski grounded out to second in the 3rd before he got aboard on that error on the shortstop in the 5th. The 2-1 pitch on the way to the plate, swung on a chop back back over the mound, and it's going to be fielded by the second shortstop. He throws to second for the out, and a beautiful play by Thomas. Well, I'll tell you what, all it takes is one to get it back, and that is what Thomas did right there. He's had a tough time fielding it, but he's had a couple of great plays here defensively in the sixth. So we will head to the 7th inning of play, and it is Eastmont leading Wenatchee 2-1. Tight one here today. We'll be right back on the NCW Life Channel. Seventh inning of play. Wenatchee will bring up Jared Rubash, TJ Shirting, and Dalton Thomas. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. 1-0 the count to the new pitcher now for Wenatchee, Jared Rubash, who is 1 for 2 of the ball game. Got aboard on a field's choice in the third and a bunt single in the fifth. The second pitch here swung on the ground towards the shortstop. Kuski to his right will field and throw, and it's in time for the outs. So 2 pitches, 1 out here in the 7th. And back to the top of the order for Wenatchee for center fielder TJ Shirting. Suddenly, Wenatchee's down to its final 2 outs. Suddenly, Wenatchee's losing 3 in a row here after falling in a doubleheader to Moses Lake on Friday. Now trailing it here 2-1. And the first pitch to TJ Shirting is a curveball in for a strike, in the count 0-1 on Shirting. Shirting's 1 for 3. Flew out to center, got a bunt single, and grounded out to the shortstop in the 5th. The 0-1 pitch swung on and chopped over towards the gap. It's going to seeing eye single into left field as it bounds between Kuski and Garland. Nothing they can do but watch it go by. So Wenatchee gets the tying run aboard here in the top of the 7th. That'll bring up the shortstop, Dalton Thomas. Thomas 0 for the day so far. Flew out to center, struck out swinging, and popped up a bunt to the catcher in the 5th. 1 down, 1 aboard. The pitch to the plate swung on and hit back over the mound. Double play chance to 2 for 1. The relay to first base is not in time. Close play at the bag at first. Could have been the final out of the game, but no. Safe at first is Dalton Thomas. So he's aboard on the fielder's choice. 6-4. 2 down for Wenatchee. 1 aboard, and brings up catcher Ronan Haynes. Haynes in there. 0 for the day so far. The first pitch to him bounces in for a ball. 1-0 the count. Eastmont trying to pull it off here today against the Wenatchee Panthers. Eastmont having won all 3 of its games last week. The pitch here swung on and chopped off of the plate. They're going to say it's a fair ball, and that's the game. Back to the pitcher it goes. 1-3 on the putouts. And the Eastmont Wildcats have defeated the Wenatchee Panthers to win their 8th in a row. 2-1 the final score. We'll take a 2-minute break and come back and wrap it up here from Dan White Field. How about this one today? The Wildcats come from behind and win it 2-1 the final. We'll come back after this 2-minute timeout on the NCW Life Channel. Welcome back once again here to Dan White Field, and the Eastmont Wildcats get the victory today, coming from behind to defeat the Wenatchee Panthers by a score of 2-1 and taking advantage of some defensive miscues. It was Wenatchee that would strike first with a run in the 3rd. Speaking of errors, on an error defensively on a throw by the pitcher Micah Satterfield, Nolan Dory came home to score after getting on board with a double, and that would be Wenatchee's lead, and it would hold that lead until the 5th inning. And that's when Eastmont would strike with 2 outs. Jack Kuski got aboard on an error on the shortstop on a fielding error. Devin Schneider with would then drive him home on a triple. That would tie the score, and on the same play, the ball coming in on a relay from the outfield to the infield was misplayed by the shortstop. That allowed Devin Schneider to round third and come home and score, and that would prove to be the winning run as the Eastmont Wildcats knock off the Wenatchee Panthers 2-1 and win their 7th straight today by a score of 2-1 over Wenatchee. Offensively, the numbers here for Eastmont. Devin Schneider goes 1 for 3 with that big triple, an RBI, and a run scored. Jackson Brown goes 1 for 3. Dawson Schultz 1 for 3, and Jared Garland 1 for 3 in the ball game. Meanwhile, for the Wenatchee Panthers offensively, Nolan Dory's day kind of goes for naught here. 2 for 3 in the game with a double, a single, and a run scored. But it would be defensive errors that cost Wenatchee in the ball game. 4 errors in the contest as they get 1 run on 6 hits and 4 errors. Eastmont 2 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error here this afternoon. The winning pitcher, Micah Satterfield, goes 5 innings, allowed 1 run that was an unearned run on 4 hits. Caleb Massey gets the save here, working the final 2, and just gave up a couple of base hits to Wenatchee, but no runs. Meanwhile, the loss is tagged on Thomas Blakeney here today, who goes 5 2/3. He allowed those 2 runs, but none of those runs were earned. So an error-filled game here. No earned runs scored, but yet in the end, it's still a 2-1 win for Eastmont over the Wenatchee Panthers. Meanwhile, we just got the score handed to us from Dan Kuntz. Thank you, Dan, who just returned from Walla Walla Point Park, where Wenatchee has defeated Eastmont 6-4. So the yin and the yang of baseball and softball between the two schools happens here on this first day of May on this Tuesday. That's going to do it for the broadcast here today. We again appreciate Jessica Medina for doing about 9,000 laps here back and forth between the outfield and up here to our press box location here at Eastmont High School. Also, thanks to Brandon Walls for doing a lot of running around as well. And of course to Caitlin Hedersheet back in the studios, who's been doing a lot of running in about a 50-foot span between her desk and the control room here this afternoon. I'm Eric Granstrom. That's going to wrap it up for baseball today on the NCW Life Channel. Again, happy Apple Blossom Week, and it's a happy day, at least for Eastmont. In the first of 3 games this week, they knock off the Wenatchee Panthers by a final of 2-1. Have a good night, everybody.
This concludes our broadcast of high school baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Tonight's broadcast was brought to you by the Wenatchee Valley YMCA. We now return to regular programming already in progress on your source for sports for North Central Washington, the NCW Life Channel.